KMSU.
Yeah, it's Booker T calling in.
Booker T, how you doing? This is Dustin Wilmus.
Hey, what's going on, Dustin?
Not too much. I'm here with my co-host, Ton.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Oh, just hanging out, talking to you.
Cool.
It is cool, indeed, yes.
We're excited to have you on this show.
Yeah, if you're ready to go, we're ready to ask you a few questions.
Yeah, man, same way.
All right, let's do it. If you can we talk a bit about how you wound up in professional wrestling?
Kind of like just fell into it. You know, it was something I watched as a kid. It was never something I dreamed of doing in my lifetime or anything like that. But I did admire the sport as well as the entertainment. I always watched wrestling from an entertainment perspective. Even as a kid, I knew it was entertainment. I was never one of those people who, really thought it was real or anything like that. But I just loved the excitement of it. You know, back in the day, Houston wrestling, Junkyard Dog was real big here. Ted DiBiase, Superstar Billy Graham would come through. Ric Flair every now and then would come through town, and it would be a special occasion, So it was a huge event, growing up as a kid. But it was something my brother wanted to do, and in the early '90s, he knew a guy opening a wrestling school, and asked me if I wanted to try it, and boom, 20 years later, here I am.
Yeah, and that's something that you definitely don't see nowadays. But tagging up with your actual brother, what was that like?
Oh, it was great. You know what I mean? It was kind of like a security blanket in a sense, being able to be on the road. And have my brother there, knowing I had somebody to watch my back all the time. Traveling those thousands of miles, through those countless amount of towns that we went through, in the South. It was cool. It was an adventure. You know what I mean? Especially two kids coming from the neighborhood. Growing up the way we did. Seeing life the way we did. Coming up as well. It was a life-changing experience.
Awesome. Well, most people know that the beginning of your career was during the WCW days, and you were one of the big players in the Monday Night Wars. Can you tell us any memories about what that was like, during that time in wrestling?
It was exciting. It was an exciting time of life. Of course, exhilarating from a perspective too. I'm getting the chance to work with guys that I had seen on television for so many years. Guys like Steamboat, guys like I say, Ric Flair. And the list of Sid Vicious, Vader, and the list goes on and on. And it was good times. I'm working with WCW back in the day, especially with Sherry Montel coming along as a manager. I'm totally taking our careers to totally another dimension. And making people see us from a totally different light. So it was a great time in my career. Was it the best time? Perhaps. It was pretty good back then.
Well, you were one of the few guys, maybe one of the only guys that was there for the long haul, right, when they closed up and you never jumped. Were you ever thinking of maybe jumping to WWE before it closed up, or what was the story on that?
No, back then, I was treated very well in WCW. They make sure they took care of me back then. I was one of the guys that were pretty much protected. And I had no qualms to leave at that time. A lot of guys had left at that time for certain reasons, but I just didn't feel like I was a part of that group and a part of their reasoning behind leaving. Perhaps I would have been with that group if I felt the same way. But at that time, I was just coasting. I was having a great time. I was doing something I never dreamt of doing in a million years. I was in a great position as well, moving up. I hadn't achieved everything I wanted to achieve in WCW at that time as well. So those were some of the reasons why I didn't leave. And I'm actually glad I didn't leave. I'm glad I stuck it out because look what happened in the end.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you count up all the titles and stuff in WCW, I think you were the guy that probably had more than anybody. Did you ever imagine, that you would be that guy when you started out just in the tag team ranks, or?
That's something you can't imagine. You can't, strive to, and perform, for titles, for those reasons right there. You just perform. The titles just pretty much come along with, going out there and doing your job and trying to be the guy that's willing to, take that extra step, carry that extra load. That was me back then. I was the guy that was always on call 24/7, whether it was in the ring or having to go and do some promotional work or something like that. I always made sure my phone was always on. So I really was one of the guys who worked myself from the bottom, all the way to the top of the card. Nothing was given to me, but some people around me, I had to have that in order for it to happen as well.
So ultimately, WCW got sold and whatnot, and you ended up transitioning over to WWE. What was that like? What was the experience? Or can you talk to us about that a little bit, the difference?
I knew it was going to be a change. It was time for a change. Life goes in seasons. I couldn't expect WCW to last, from the beginning of my career to the end. I wish it would have. I feel like I would have been a lifer, if WCW would have lasted. But WWE came along, and they bought the company, and they finally got me. That's what I was told, when I finally came to the company. One of the higher-ups came up to me and goes, we finally got you. I was like, cool, okay. Let me know that they wanted me anyway, so that gave me a sense of, man, maybe I can make, I'm in the right place. But the thing was with me, I didn't want to bring WCW baggage with me and, the accolades for WCW titles that I had won, and then come to WWE and think that I could, be a player there just because of those reasons. I wanted to come there and prove myself. So I left all that baggage behind and came in and started all over fresh, and worked my way again from the bottom, all the way to the main event status, even in the WWE as well.
Yeah, well, talking about, starting from scratch and stuff, over the years, you've been one of those guys that's really been able to reinvent your character, and not get stale, for lack of a better term. But a lot of the, gimmicks or angles you've had over the year, where you did the program with Gold Dust and the supermarket with Steve Austin, which is one of our favorites, and the King Booker, a lot of those are more kind of like comedic sort of things that you really pulled off well. What are your thoughts on that? Is that something you lean towards easily, or?
Well, I always tell the young guys, let's get into the business. You got to know how to adapt to the role when you get it. You got to take it and, analyze it, and then try to make it the best you possibly can make it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I never got into the business thinking that it was real. And that's why a lot of guys, really, have the wrong concept when they get into the business. You know what I mean? They really handicap themselves when they come into the business thinking that way. When I was doing those characters and creating those roles, I was just thinking about expanding, my craft. How good can I be? How hard can I make the people laugh? If I can make someone cry at the same time, that would even be better. If I can make somebody get up and give me an encore at the end of the night, or hate me, you know what I mean? To the point that where they want to jump over the barrier. I was doing my job, so that's what it's always been about with me. It's always been about going out and entertaining the fans to the utmost of my ability, and I think that's what the fans, have appreciated, from me over the years, that it's never really been about me. It's always been about them.
Definitely. Well, one thing I got to say, I was at the Royal Rumble earlier this year, and the response that you got when you were one of the entrants was pretty huge. Were you overwhelmed by that, or were you surprised that you got such a huge response?
I was taken aback from it, of course. But, that's a respect, you know what I mean, from the fans just giving me. It wasn't about my wrestling ability coming out that night or anything. It wasn't about me coming out there and winning the Rumble or anything like that. It was that applause to me was the respect that the fans was giving me for the 20 years of performances, and, as much as I've tried to go out and, give it up for them, every single time that I went out in that ring. I think that's what that was all about. It was the fans just giving their respect and their love for Booker T for the last 20 years consecutively being on television. I think that's what that was. I appreciated it so much. It let me know that I did something good in this life, and I had made up for all of the bad deeds that I did in this life as well, I think.
Well, you talk about being around for 20 plus years. Who would you say, just a short list, some of your favorite guys were to work with over the years?
Of course, Chris Jericho was one of the guys who I've had a lot of great battles with. Definitely Christian. was one of my best opponents to go out and perform with. Edge was another one. A lot of Canadian guys. Of course, Benoit kicked it off with the best of 7. In my career, Rick Martel. It's been the list goes on and on as far as the talented Rey Mysterio, the talented guys that I've been in the ring with and had a chance to perform with on so many different eras. You know what I mean? Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Ric Flair. I got a chance to tangle with those guys as well. Kurt Hennig, Ravishing Rick Rude. I got a chance to tangle with those guys as well as guys like Cody Rhodes. You know what I mean? So it's been a monster. It's been a hell of a roller coaster ride for Booker T, and I wouldn't change it for anything. But there's been a lot of great talent that I've been in the ring with.
Well, of course, you're back now, as a general manager on SmackDown, and you've been on commentary recently. What do you think your role might be in wrestling as time goes on? Do you see yourself sticking with that, or being more of like a behind-the-scenes guy, or training people, or what do you think?
I definitely want to be a behind-the-scenes guy. I've been out there, in front of the camera, a long time, and it's been great to me, but I know my role. I know my position. I'm a general now. It's time for me to, nurture the future of the business. It's really not about me. It's about the young guys. Really, it's really about, when I say that, I don't just, say that, just to be said. And it really is about the young guys to go out there and create their legacies. The Wade Barrett, the Drew McIntyres, like I say, the Cody Rhodeses. It's time for those guys to go out and create their legacy and their, history in this business, their Hall of Fame dreams. And I'm going to be behind them 100%. This is what I do. This is what I know. With my school here in Houston, my promotion here in Houston, I'm still trying to find the next big superstar myself. And it's about the next generation of wrestlers, you know what I mean? So this is what I do. So I'm going to be around the business, hopefully, till they put me in that box and put me 6 feet under. But it's what I love. It's what I do. It's what I know, and it's what I do best.
Well, tell us about, you've got a new book out, is that right? From Prison to Promise?
Yeah. It's my life story. I'm just the trials and tribulations of my life. A lot of people wonder why didn't I put out, the wrestling book. The wrestling book will come one day, I'm sure. But I want to put a book out to where, people, like I say, I've seen, Booker T, the wrestler, on television for 20 years. And people continue to, lean towards that and think that's what life is, the norm, which is really not. I'm just one of the ones that made it out. But I wanted people to know the life of Booker T. Huffman Jr., the kid who grew up, without a dad, father passed when I was 10 months old. My mother, struggled to raise, 8 kids, passing away, when I was 13 years old. The struggles of Booker T, a young Booker T, on the streets of Houston, Texas, running around and having to make so many choices and dodge so many landmines and navigate his way through this thing that we call life. I wanted people to see that part, and then they really truly know that if they're in a certain position, they can refer back to Booker T's story, and they know that they can make it too, because if I did, anybody can.
Awesome. I mean, you've had so much success, but you can tell from where you've come and where you've gone, but you're still obviously a humble guy and very down to earth, and that's very awesome that you've taken some time out with us tonight.
Hey, I appreciate it. My mother always told me, you only live once. It don't cost you anything to say please, thank you, yes, ma'am, and no, sir. Those are small things in life, and they'll take you so far in life if you just apply them. And it took me some time before I applied them. But I appreciate you guys giving me the time to promote my book, and I'm talking about my wrestling story. And true, I know that the wrestling book is going to come out. I already picked out a title. 35. That's going to be the title. So look forward to be coming as well. But check out Booker T from Prison Promise Life before the squared circle, and you might find yourself in that dark spot, and it might be the one thing that drives you to the light at the end of the tunnel. I appreciate it, guys.
Well, thanks a lot, Booker. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. Have a good night.